there's sometimes where the casting of a villain is just so perfect that despite the fact that you know that the episode itself or the movie is going to be terrible, this casting being so perfect really enhances that enjoyability. And wow, we actually are getting thunder right now. Uh but Neil Patrick Harris as the Toymaker. When I first heard that Neil Patrick Harris was going to do this, I was pretty excited. I've said before, I love Neil Patrick Harris as an actor. He's extremely talented. There's parts in the episode where there's puppeteering, and he's doing the puppeteering himself because he's had experience with that kind of thing. He's sitting there doing the card shuffling and stuff like that. He's dancing, and the guy is extremely talented. But because it is Neil Patrick Harris, it's kind of like Jim Carrey, where no matter what role he's in, there's always that part where it's like, okay, is it Jim Carrey or is this how the character is supposed to be? Because he has like a style. Same thing with Neil Patrick Harris. And the Toymaker, the way I saw him, like this version, was basically a immortal, super powerful version of like Count Olaf from Series of Unfortunate Events, which Harris also, that's who played him in the series. So the guy has a costume for pretty much any occasion if he wants. You know, he's doing voices and this and that. Except, unlike Olaf, the Toymaker can't die. But just like with Olaf, it's like how much of that was the character of Olaf and how much of that was Neil. So we have this scene. We're not going to show it. I've uploaded it before, and it's partially blocked. And like, normally I wouldn't care, but the UK was one of those places, and I was like, I have a lot of viewers in the UK, so no. But we're gonna just kind of go through, and it's a really great scene. I recommend watching it yourself. Sam, hi Sam. Um, but it's a perfect show of Neil and the fact that this guy is so dangerous. So he comes in and he's dancing to the Spice Girls song Spice Up Your Life. And again, I would recommend just watching the scene and then coming back. So he's going around dancing, you know, going from one place to another. He's dancing with Kate. They start running at him, and he touches them, and they turn into plastic balls. And then Kate tells him to open fire on him, and you know, they just start shooting flower petals. Every gun, flower petals. You can't touch the guy. And it just shows how dangerous he is. The doctor, the scene itself, I can't imagine how hard it must have been to try to get through this scene without laughing, because it's Neil doing it. But then in the show, it's, you know, it's the Toymaker. This guy's dangerous. So you have to have that look of worry. The doctor not knowing what to do. You know, and then he kind of finishes up his little bit. Do that. He jumps down into the floor. There's like a little honk honk, and that's it. The doctor runs over, slides onto the ground to find that he can't get through because the floor is solid again. Then we have a scene like this where he's talking to the doctor, and you know, he's like, "Oh yeah, I've toyed with supernovas. I gambled with God and made him a Jack in the Box. I made a jigsaw out of your history." He says that he took the game with the master, that he played a game with the master and turned him into a gold tooth. Also, just how creepy how many teeth this guy has. They're like little chiclets. But he's like, yeah, the master, that's like a little separate time and space pocket right there. And the master's trapped in there. So you can see it's like this guy is extremely deadly. Well, I shouldn't say deadly because it's not like he's. I don't think he's meant to be inherently evil. He's just he has all this power and he likes playing games. He's basically like an immortal Jigsaw. You know, he wants to play a game. Um, but that means he shouldn't be taken lightly. Even if the games aren't deadly, he he still can wipe out universes. Uh this and before he was supposed to be, I think when he was first introduced, he was just going to be a Time Lord. Um that it was just going to be like, you know, just someone that the Doctor went to school with and stuff like that. But even if they made him a Time Lord now, it really wouldn't matter because not even the Doctor isn't even a Time Lord anymore. He's just a small little black girl who was experimented on by Tecteun, and the first Doctor we see is actually like 162,343, thousand. It's just stupid now. But it's Neil Patrick Harris, and scenes like this when he says that he um gambled with God and turned him into a Jack in the Box. Just that line, it's like God. When you think of God, you think of this all-powerful, omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient type of being, and this guy's like, yeah, about that. It's just that's how terrifying this guy is. The fact that again, the Master. He imprisoned the Master. Um, and it seems like this where he comes across very threatening. Um, and then there's goofy parts like with the puppet shows. He's telling the story about like Amy and like Bill, but then the Doctor comes back with, oh well, this and this, and he's like, well, that's all right then. But it's Neil. It's if I could just see if the episode was just small clips of just him, it'd be fine. Because the episode itself was exactly what you thought it would be. But this guy just stole the spotlight. He stole it. You know? It's just what he does. He just steals the spotlight. It's like with Michelle Gomez when she was as Missy, the Master. She just stole every scene she was in because of just her energy, her sense of humor, it was just she was amazing. And that's what I can't stand when people say, "Oh, you don't like women or this and that." No, I love Missy. Having the Master go from this whole long line of men to having him as a female now, but the female was well written. She was incredibly fun. And the end with when both the Master and Missy kind of like backstab each other, so they're both dying, but then they're laughing about it, and it's like that's something only the Master would do: backstab themselves, but then laugh about it. Here they are dying, and they're laughing about it. It's so I loved Missy, Michelle Gomez as a Master. Neil Patrick Harris as a Toymaker. I hope we do get to see this character again. But I said ages ago, regardless of what the episode would be, that even if it sucked, this man right here would be able to make it more palatable. And he did. But Neil Patrick Harris is a Toymaker. The Toymaker. Hello, Doctor. But with Neil Patrick Harris again, it's like, what part of it was supposed to be the Toymaker, and which part of it was supposed to be which part of it was Neil? Because when you see him dancing around, it just makes me think of Series of Unfortunate Events when he was dancing around as Olaf, or Olaf rather disguised as someone else, and you could have just taken that scene and replace, instead of having people from Doctor Who, replace it with like the Baudelaires and all, and it would have fit perfectly fine. It would have been perfectly fine. Um, but yeah, what did you think of the episode? What do you think of Neil? I mean, like I said, I think he's brilliant as an actor. I've been watching ever since like when I was a kid. I was watching him as Doogie Howser. Um, Incredibly talented guy. He can sing, he can dance. You know, he acts. The card thing he was doing, the puppeteering in the episode he was partially doing. So I mean, he's extremely talented, and I really hope we get to see this incarnation of the Toymaker again. I hope that Neil does come back as the Toymaker. I mean, he is getting older, so I hope they do it sometime soon. But yeah. What did you think of Neil as the Toymaker? Um, but anyway, that's gonna do it for me. You guys know the drill. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.